Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to why life is different in Alaska. And I think out of all the US states, Alaska definitely is the most, I don't want to say the most unique because then you got Hawaii, which is out on its own, but like just life in Alaska, I feel like it's just different to everywhere else pretty much. I know there's other places in the US that get very, like the snow and like all that sort of stuff. So like it's obviously hard to travel and certain things like that. But I feel like in Alaska, like you just feel so secluded. Maybe it's the same in like Hawaii, like because it's so far. But I feel like because there's so much going on in Hawaii, it doesn't feel like that. But Alaska definitely isn't the same. There's a lot of like towns dotted around, but they're so far from other towns, cities, and there's such a small population in most of the towns. It is just like it's in its own world. But we're gonna check this out and see because maybe there's more to it than I know. But yeah, Alaska is a fascinating state, and I'm interested in seeing what this video is about. And yeah, let's jump into this. Link's also in the description to my Patreon. I've just reacted to Back to the Future for the first time. Only done part one so far. I'm going to do part two after I do these YouTube reactions, but my god, man, what a film that is. I'm going to do the trilogy because there's 3 films, I think, and then more after that. But yeah, if you're interested in movie reactions and YouTube reactions, I can't post YouTube links are in the description to my Patreon. But yeah, we're going to check this out and see why life is different in Alaska. Also, if you're from Alaska, let me know your thoughts. Maybe certain parts of Alaska are like exaggerated because I know it does get quite warm in the summer. I think it's just the winters that are really rough here, but maybe certain parts it isn't as bad, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, if you're from Alaska, let me know how life is up in Alaska.
This is Alaska, and with a whopping 665,400 square miles, it's the largest state in all of North America. In fact, if you were to take the massively sized state of Alaska and place it here on top of the 48 lower US states, it stretches all the way out from the East Coast to California. But Alaska isn't just this gigantic landmass more geographically similar to Canadian provinces than other US states. No, it has 100,000 glaciers, 34,000 miles of coastline, and more than 3 million lakes. Oh, and Alaska is pretty remote, being completely disconnected from the 48 lower states, often referred to as the continental or contiguous United States. And the state of Alaska has less than 1 million residents, an incomplete highway system, and more natural resources than any place else in the US. So while Alaska's unique geography provides it with a deep natural wealth of unthinkable proportions, it also contributes to the state's severe isolation and a lack of city building, amenities, and modern luxuries there. See, Alaska can only be reached through air, boat, or international passage through Canada. And while it's impossible to truly describe the awe-inspiring wonder that is Alaskan nature, the words wild, rugged, and immense often come first to mind, with Alaska being one of the few remaining naturally wild habitats for animals like polar bears, moose, and caribou. It's also the home of America's first, second, and third tallest mountains, including Denali, the highest mountain peak in all of North America. However, Alaska's significant distance to and separation from the contiguous United States makes life there, well, let's just say, complicated, or perhaps even outright difficult, especially when compared to life in traditional US states. As I explain why that is, why life on the Alaskan Peninsula can be very harsh even for the 732,000 people that already call it home, I will also be looking at the livability of Alaska's 5 most important cities, breaking down their unique characteristics and why you should, or perhaps shouldn't, consider relocating to the last frontier. And I really think that nickname, the last frontier, says a lot about what Alaska stands for, as Alaska is largely unsettled, with the few real cities there serving as a last line of modern settlement, a final barrier between Alaskan society and the wilderness that lies beyond. If you're beginning to wonder if you could even survive Alaska's problematic topography, extremely cold winters, and isolation, well, that would be understandable, as Alaskan winters are difficult, even for lifelong residents, with months of darkness and a polar night that only grows darker as you go further north.
It's definitely not for the faint-hearted, right? I mean, if you're someone who grows up here, like you grew up here, you've been here your whole life, you're going to be used to it, so it's not going to like be a shock to the system. But someone moving here for the first time, all these kinds of things, and say you move there in the winter, like that's going to cause all kinds of, I'd say, mental problems for people, like just depression and stuff. It's always dark, obviously it's cold, but I guess it's just one of those things you get used to. But imagine that living somewhere where, I mean, I don't know what parts of Alaska, I know, but wait, Barrow, but I think Barrow's the most northern city, and I think they changed the name, but I can't remember what they changed it to. But I think that's a place that will literally be dark 24/7, as opposed to, what's the biggest city in Alaska called? Oh, what's it called? I know the biggest city is. Oh no, I do know it. I can't remember, but that's a lot more southern, so maybe it doesn't have the same darkness things there. I say darkness things, that makes no sense. It doesn't get dark as long in the winter, but I'd still say it's pretty much dark for a good 18 to 20 hours, even in the winter there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those places, like, you've got a lot to get used to. Obviously, if you grow up there, like I've said already, you're gonna be used to it. But and also, what's the Alaskan accent? Is there really an Alaskan accent, or is it just like a typical American accent? You can't really distinguish an Alaskan accent. I guess because it's all like, because initially I guess Alaska didn't have many people at all, and then in the modern sort of world, people could move there because there's heating and all this kinds of stuff. And then it was just people from all around the US moving there, so the accents would have just been a mixture of all American people, pretty much.
And small community living in Alaska can be nearly impossible, not only for the difficult terrain and extreme temperatures, but with several towns completely lacking access to roadway outlets. And yet, I would argue that Alaska's economics and public safety are considerably more concerning for its residents.
Wait, the public safety is not a safe state?
Or anyone looking to move there. I will go more in depth on Alaskan economics and safety as I break down the livability of Alaska's most important cities in just a moment. But a more general overview would be that the state has one of the highest crime rates in all of America.
People just get bored, so they're like, fuck it, let's just go to crime instead. Damn. I've probably seen this statistic before, but thinking of that, Alaska having the highest crime rate is not something that I would have guessed firsthand.
With violent crime being particularly problematic, and Alaska having the nation's 5th highest rate of violent crime. The cost of living in Alaska is also nearly 30% higher than the national average.
See, that's rough because they have to import the stuff. I've done a reaction to Barrow again a few years ago, and like the cost just to buy foods is just so much higher because of having to import it and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's definitely rough out there. I mean, if you've got to pay a lot more and you're not getting, I don't know what the pay will be like. I guess it will sort of come in hand. Like, if you have to pay more for things, also the pay that you get will also go up too. But is it to an equal level? I'm not sure.
With Alaska being one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. Though keep in mind, Alaska doesn't levy a state sales or income tax, and median income is very competitive, even with the most prosperous of U.S. states.
Okay.
Let's start with Sitka and Ketchikan, the 4th and 5th most populous Alaskan cities. Of course, Kink, Fairview, and Wasilla both technically have more residents than Sitka or Ketchikan, but they are part of Metro Anchorage, and I wanted to address
Anchorage is the city that I was trying to think of.
Independent Alaskan cities here. And Sitka, located in southeastern Alaska, is a real city. A very small city with just over 8,000 residents, but a legitimate little city nonetheless.
Tiny.
Sitka is also an expensive city, though, with a cost of living that's about 40% higher than the national average. Ketchikan is also located in southeastern Alaska, but while it's a bit smaller than Sitka, it's arguably more important, as Ketchikan serves as an essential hub for the state's vast fishing economy. Then again, the story of Alaska revolves mostly around its 3 biggest cities: Juneau, Fairbanks, and Anchorage. Juneau is the 3rd largest city in the state of Alaska.
This is Alaska. God damn, this place I mean, I know Alaska's beautiful, but if I was to see this picture for the first time, I'd assume it's like Thailand or something. It's Alaska, god damn.
Despite it having just under 32,000 residents and a slightly declining population. Juneau is mostly known for being the capital of Alaska, also located in the southeastern portion of the state, though it can't be reached even by other southeastern cities without a boat or plane, something that I think really outlines Alaska's staggering size and remoteness. Being the state capital of Alaska, Juneau has a thriving economy with significant employment in government, tourism, and fishing. It's known for its natural beauty, surrounded by scenic ocean views and tall mountains. Juneau has the lowest crime rate of Alaska's 3 big cities and a strong community, though it's also one of the most expensive cities in the state. Fairbanks is the 2nd largest Alaskan city, though its population is only slightly larger than Juneau. Fairbanks is known mostly for its long, cold winters and a close proximity to the Arctic Circle.
Oh,
So
God.
outdoor winter activities like skiing, snowmobiling, and ice fishing are an important part of the culture there. Fairbanks is also home to the University of Alaska Fairbanks, the state's second largest university, which brings in students and researchers from all around the world. It's also home to the controversial Trans-Alaskan Pipeline, with the university and pipeline there being an important part of the city's economic success.
Well, how come it's controversial? Transatlantic pipeline. What's that? What's controversial? But there's probably something about it that I don't know. But I've never heard of it before, so I'm not too sure.
The city of Fairbanks is the largest point in the interior of Alaska, nicknamed the Golden Heart City for its central location and warm community. Fairbanks also has more crime than Juneau, but less than Anchorage. Then there's Anchorage, located in south-central Alaska. And with nearly 300,000 residents, a thriving economy, a robust marketplace, and the state's largest university, Anchorage is much bigger than any other Alaskan city. It's the home of the state's tallest building, and companies like the Kiewit Building Group, Far North Digital, and the Alaska Railroad are all located there. In fact, more than half of Alaska's population lives in the Anchorage metropolitan area, and Anchorage serves as Alaska's de facto transportation hub, with the Port of Anchorage, the Glenn Highway, and the Ted Stevens International Airport, the largest and most trafficked airport in Alaska, all being located in the city. But it also has the state's highest rate of crime, so safety there can be very problematic, with crime in Anchorage varying significantly from neighborhood to neighborhood, but generally being much higher than other Alaskan cities. So while Anchorage offers the closest thing to big city life in all of Alaska, it also shares many of the downsides of big city living elsewhere. However, places like Chicago and New York don't enjoy the impeccable northern lights, and Anchorage is still an Alaskan city, so there's plenty of unique nature and open spaces all around the city.
Damn, you've got bears strolling into your home, or your area. God damn. This is a cool little look into it. I mean, as a Canadian, I take comfort in knowing we are surrounded by the harsh Arctic and the states to protect us. Alaska is amazing. I live in Vancouver Island, where you can see Washington State across the water. Many Americans are surprised to learn that there is somewhere in Canada that is warmer than some of their states. On average, I grew up in the Midwest, so I remember cold winters, but never had to deal with the amount of darkness Alaskan winters have. Still, the summers in Alaska just be magic. Well, how hot does it get in the summer? How hot does Alaska... By July, daytime temperatures in the interior can average, Fahrenheit, so 70 to Fahrenheit to Celsius. That's probably similar to like the UK, you know. Yeah, I mean, 21 UK summertime average temperature. Although weather is unpredictable, it is rarely extreme. In summer, that average temperatures range from 9 to 18 degrees Celsius. What? That's not average at that, does it? Does it average at 9 to 18 degrees Celsius? I mean, it's been cold in the UK since I got back from my holiday for a good week, and apparently before that it wasn't good either. Let me just search. Wait, let me just see this. I can't agree with that. August 18 is the average. What? Oh, it's 15 now. It is quite cold. But the weather is terrible. And you know what? I'm kind of happy because Venice was so hot. I'm like, finally just a bit of cool, a bit of rain. But this is the worst it's been, right? But the temperatures are still like 20 degrees and stuff. Before that, it was like high 20s. The fact that it's between 8 and 8 or 9 and 18, that's not the case. But okay, Alaska gets warmer than my city. Wait, what's Anchorage weather right now? It's kind of similar, to be honest. It's sunnier. It's not raining, but it's sort of similar temperatures. Well, there we go. Alaska's hotter than England. God damn. Hopefully you enjoy this reaction, and yeah, that's that. Until next time, subscribe. Peace.